व्हाट्सअप गाइस, फ्लाइंग क्रिएटर ऑन द माइक। और इस वीडियो में पढ़ने वाला हूँ यूट्यूब की टर्म्स ऑफ सर्विसेज, जो कि कोई भी क्रिएटर या फिर व्यूअर नहीं पढ़ता है। और इस वीडियो में हम जानने वाले हैं क्या यूट्यूब हमारी लोकेशन और प्राइवेट फोटोज को एक्सेस करता है। उसको जानने के लिए बिना किसी देरी के लेट्स जंप इनटू द वीडियो। Okay, term of service. Welcome to YouTube. Introduction. Thank you for using YouTube products, services and feature provided to you from the platform, collectively the service. अब देखते हैं सर्विस को। Our service. The service allows you to discover, watch and share videos and the other content, provides a forum for the people to connect, inform and inspire others across the globe, and acts as a distribution platform for original content creators and the advertisers, large and small, जैसे कि हम small हैं। We provide lots of information about our products and how to use them in our help center, among other things. You can find out about YouTube Kids, the YouTube Partner Program, and the YouTube paid membership and purchase where available. You can also read all about enjoying content on the other device like your television, your games console, or other Google Home. Your service provider. The entity provided the service as Google LLC, a company operated under the laws of Delaware, located at 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, Mountain View, California 94043. Referred as YouTube, we, us, or our. References to YouTube's affiliates in these terms means the other company within the Alphabet Incorporate group now or within the future. Applicable term. Your use of the service is subject to these terms, the YouTube community guidelines and the policy, safety and copyright policy, which may be updated from time to time together this agreement. Your agreement with us will also include the advertising on YouTube policies. If you provide advertising or sponsorship to the service or incorporate paid promotions in your content. Any other links or references provided in these terms are for informational use only and not part of the agreement. Now, please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand it. If you do not understand the agreement or do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. Okay, this is important. By accepting this agreement, you affirm that you are 18 years of age or above and are fully competent to enter into this agreement and to abide by and comply with this agreement. In case you are below 80 years of age, the restrictions and requirements below apply. Okay. Now you may use the service. First one, this is important, age requirement. You must be at least 13 years old to use the service. However, children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available if enabled by parents or legal guardian. Children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available if enabled by parent or legal guardian. Permission by parents or guardian. If you are considered a minor in your country, you represent that you have your parents or guardians' permissions to use the service. Please have them read about the argument with you. Now, if you are a parent or legal guardian of a minor in your country, by allowing your child to use the service, you are subject to term of this agreement and responsible for your child activity on the service. You can find tools and resources to help you manage your family experiences on YouTube in our help center and through Google's family link. Now, this one is business. If you're using the service on behalf of a company or organize, you represent that you have authority to act on behalf of that entity and that such entity accepts this agreement. Okay, Your use of the service. Content on the service. The content of the service includes videos, audio, for example, music and other sounds, graphics, photos, text such as comment and scripts, branding including trade names, traders, service makers or logos, interactive features, software, metrics and the other materials collectively content. Content is the responsibility of a person or entity that provides is to the service. YouTube is under no obligation to host or service content. If you see any content you believe does not comply with this agreement, including by violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Okay. Business. Business. If you're using the service on behalf of a company or organize, you represent that you have authority to act on behalf of that entity and that such entity accepts this agreement. Okay. Your use of the service. Content on the service. The content of the service includes videos, audio, for example, music and other sounds, graphics, photos, text such as comment and scripts, branding including trade names, traders, service makers or logos, interactive features, software, metrics and the other materials collectively content. Content is the responsibility of a person or entity that provides is to the service. YouTube is under no obligation to host or service content. If you see any content you believe does not comply with this agreement, including by violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Okay. Now, Google account and YouTube channels. You can use part of services such as browsing and searching for content without having a Google account. However, you do need a Google account to use some features. With a Google account, you may be able to like videos, subscribe to channels, create your own YouTube channel and more. You can follow these instructions to create Google account. Okay. Creating a YouTube channel will give you access to additional features and functions such as uploading videos, making comments or creating playlists where available. Here are some details about how to create your own YouTube channel. Okay. To protect your Google account, keep your password confidential. You should not reuse your Google account password on third-party applications. Learn more about that. Keeping your Google account secure include what to do if you learn of any unauthorized use of your password or Google account. Okay, now your information. Our privacy policy explains how we treat your personal data and protect your privacy when you use the service. The YouTube Kids Privacy Notice provides additional information about us privacy practices that are specific to YouTube Kids. Now, we will process any audio or audiovisual content uploaded by you to the service in accordance with the YouTube data processing terms, except in cases where you upload such content or personal purpose or household activities. Learn more. Okay, I didn't know that. Permission and restrictions. This one is important. Permissions and the restrictions. You may use the service as made available to you as long as you comply with the agreement and applicable law. You may view or listen to content for your personal non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embeddable YouTube player. Okay, the following restrictions apply to your use of service. You are not allowed to. Number 1. Access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, after, modify or other use any part of the service or any content except 1. As expressible authorized by the service. 2nd. With prior written permission from YouTube, if applicable, the respective right holders. Number 2. Circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage with or otherwise interface with any part of the service or attempt to do any of these services, including security related feature or features that number 1 prevent or restrict the copying or other use of content, or B limit the use of service or content. Okay, now we are now on number 3. Access the service using the unauthorized means such as botnets or scalpers, except 1. In the case of public search engines, in according with YouTube's robot.txt file, or B. with YouTube's prior written permission. Okay. Now number 4. Collect or harvest any information that might identify a person, for example username, unless permitted by that person or allowed under section 3 above. ओके सो जैसे कि आप देखते हो कि इतने सारे फेक चैनल्स हैं वो बिल्कुल भी नहीं बनने चाहिए. दे आर completely अनलीगल एंड restricted by the YouTube. Now, number 5, use the service to distribute. Now, number 5, use the service to distribute unsolicited, promotional or commercial content or other unwanted or mass solicitations. 6, cause or guys, these words are too small that I'm having some problems to read them. But anyways, I'm reading because nation wants to know the YouTube policies. Number 6, cause or encourage any inaccurate measurements or genuinely user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with the incentives to increase a video views, likes or dislikes, or increase a channel's subscribers, or otherwise manipulate metrics in any manner. This one is very important. Number 7, misuse and reporting, flagging, complaint, dispute or appeals process include by making groundless, vexatious or frivolous submissions. Okay, I got it. Number 8, run contest on or through the service that do not comply with YouTube's contest policy and guidelines. 9, use the service to view or listen to content other than the personal, non-commercial use. For example, you may not publicly screen videos or stream music from the service. Okay. Number 10, use the service to sell any advertising, sponsorships or promotion placed on, around or within the service on content other than those allowed in the advertisement on YouTube policies, such as complaint product placements, or B, self advertising, sponsorships or promotion on any page of any website or application that only contain content from the service, or where content from the other service is primary basis, or such as sales, for example selling ads on web page where YouTube videos are main draw for users visiting the web page. Okay. Now, reservation. Using the service does not give you ownership or of using the service do not give you ownership of or right to any aspect of the service, including username or any other content posted by other or YouTube. Okay. Change to the service. YouTube is constantly changing and improving the service. We may also need to alter or discontinue the service or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements, change functionality and feature, make changes to comply with law, or prevent illegal activity or on abuse of system. These changes may affect all users, some users, or even an individual user. Okay. Whenever responsibly possible, we will provide notice when we discontinue or make material changes to our service that will have an adverse impact on the use of service. However, you understand and agree that there will be times when we make such changes without notice, such as where we feel we need to take action to improve the security and operability of our service, prevent abuse or any or comply with legal requirements. Okay. Now next one is your content. Now next one is your content and product. Uploading content. If you have a YouTube channel, you may be able to upload content to a service. You may use your content to promote your business or artistic enterprise. If you choose to upload content, you must not be submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement, including YouTube community guidelines or the law. For example, the content you submit must not include third-party intellectual property such as copyrighted material unless you have permission from the party or are otherwise legally entitled to do so. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. We may use automatic systems that analyze your content to help direct infringement and abuse, including spam and malware. This one is important. Rights you grant. You retain ownership rights in your content. However, we do require you to grant certain rights to YouTube and other users for the service as described below. Okay, license to YouTube. By providing content to the service, you grant to YouTube a worldwide non-exclusive royalty-free transferable sublicensable license to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare, derivative work, display, and perform it. YouTube may only use that content in connection with the service and the YouTube's and its accessories and affiliates. Business include for the purpose for promoting redistributing part of all services. License to other users. Okay. You also grant each other use of the service worldwide non-exclusive royalty-free license to access your content through the service and to use the content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare, derivative work, display, and perform it only as enabled by a feature of the service such as video playback or embeds. For clarity, the license does not grant any right or permission for a user to make use of your content independently of the service. Okay. Duration of license. The license granted by you continue by commercial responsible period of the time you remove or delete your content from the service. Okay. The license granted by you continue for a commercial responsible period of time after you remove or delete your content from the service. You understand and agree, however, that YouTube may retain but not display, distribute, or perform server copies of your videos that you have been removed or deleted. Okay, I'm reading it again. You understand and agree, however, that YouTube may retain but not display, distribute, or perform service copies of your videos that you have been removed or deleted. Okay, removing your content. You may remove your content from the service at any time. You also have the option to make a copy of your content before removing it. You must remove your content if you no longer have the rights required by these terms. Okay, this one was also important. Removal of content by YouTube. This one is going to be important. Now, if we responsibly believe that any content is in breach of this agreement or may cause harm to YouTube, our users, or third parties, we may remove or take down the content in our discretion. We will notify you the reason for your action unless we responsibly believe that to do so. जैसे कि आपने कुछ दिन पहले कैरिमिनाटी की वीडियो में देखा था कि YouTube के पास फुल राइट है कि अगर YouTube उनके यूजर्स या किसी भी थर्ड पार्टी को ऐसा लगता है कि उन्हें हार्म हो रहा है तो YouTube वो चीज़ें डिलीट कर देगी एंड वी विल नोटिफाई, और वो नोटिफाई भी कर देगी। जैसे कि कैरिमिनाटी के पास भी एक मेल आया था कि वी आर रिमूविंग योर कंटेंट। एंड हियर इज नंबर 1, would breach the law of the direction of a law legal enforcement authority or would otherwise risk legal liabilities for YouTube or affiliates. Would And number 2, would compromise or an investigations or the integrate or operation of the service. Number C, would cause harm to any user or third party user, YouTube or affiliates. You can learn more about reporting or enforcement, including how to appeal, on the troubleshooting page of our help center. Copyright protection, this one is also important. We provide information to help copyright holders manage their intellectual property online in our YouTube Copyright Center. If you believe your copyright has been infringed on the service, please send us a new notice. Okay, तो हम उन्हें notice भी भेज सकते हैं. Now we respond to the notice of alleged copyright infringement according to this process in our YouTube Copyright Center, where you can also find information about how to resolve a copyright strike. YouTube policy provide for the termination in appropriate circumstances of repeat infringers access to the service. Now, this one is also going to be important. Account suspension and termination. आपने बहुत बार सुना होगा कि YouTube बहुत से क्रिएटर्स का जो अकाउंट होता है उसे सस्पेंड करके बिल्कुल टोटली टर्मिनेट कर देता है। तो वो ऐसा क्यों होता है? Terminations by you may stop using the service at any time. Follow this instruction to delete the service from your Google account, which involves closing your YouTube channel and removing your data, where you also have an option to download a copy of your data first. Okay, termination and suspension by YouTube for cause. YouTube may suspend or terminate use of the service, your Google account, or any or your Google account's access to all or part of the service. A. You maternally or repeatedly breach this agreement. Number 2. We are required to do so comply with a legal requirements or a court order. Okay. Number C. We believe there has been conduct that creates or could create liabilities or harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. Like this one, शायद this agreement की वजह से ही हिंदुस्तानी भाव का चैनल डिलीट हुआ था. We are required to do so or comply with a legal notice or a court order. Termination by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may also terminate your use of service, your Google account's access to all part of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. Okay. Notice for the termination or suspense. Okay. We will notify you with the reason for termination or suspension by YouTube unless we responsibly believe that to do. Number A, would violates the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority or would otherwise risk legal liabilities for YouTube or other affiliates. B, would compromise an investigation or the integrity or operation of the service. C, would cause harm to any user, other third party, YouTube or affiliates, where YouTube is terminating your use of service changes where responsibly possible you will provide with sufficient time to export your content for the service. Effect of account suspension or termination. If your Google account is terminated or your Google account accessible to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain accepts of the service, such as viewing only without any account with the agreement will continue to apply to such certain use. If you believe your Google account has been terminated in error, you can appeal using this form. Okay. About software in the service. Downloadable software. When the service requires or include downloadable software such as YouTube Studio application, you give permission for that software to update automatically or on your device once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device setting. Unless that software is governed by additional terms which provide a license, YouTube gives you personal, worldwide royalty-free, non-accessible, non-exclusive license to use the software provided to you by YouTube as a part of the service. The license is for the sole promising by enabling you to use the enjoying and benefits of the service as provided by YouTube in the manner permitted by this agreement. You are not allowed to copy, modify, distribute, sell, sublicense, or lease any part of the software, or to reverse engineer or attempt to extract the source code of the software unless laws prohibited these restrictions or you have YouTube written permission. Okay. Open source. Some software used in our services may offered under an open source royalty free license that we provide to you. These may be provided in open source license that exclusively override some of the terms, so please be sure read those license. Okay, these are them other legal terms. Warranty disclaimer. Okay, this one is warranty disclaimer. Limitations of liabilities. Okay. Services open mission to extend the permitted. Okay. This provision applies to any claims regardless of whether the claim asserted is based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal theory. So before the date of notice. Okay. To the extent permitted by applicable law, YouTube and its affiliates totally liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater or the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you from your use of the service in 12 months before the date of your notice in the writing to YouTube of the claim, and USD 500 whichever is higher. Okay. Okay. Indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agreed to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless YouTube, its aviation officer, directors, employees, and agents from and against any and all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, cost or debt, and the expenses, including but not limited to attorney fees arising from number one, your use of his services; second, your violation of any terms of the services, terms of the services, terms of these term of services. Okay. Now, number three, your violation of any third party, including without limitation of copyright, property, or private right. Number four, any claim that your content caused damage to a third party. These defense or indemnification obligation will survive this agreement and your use of the service. Third party links. The service may contain links to third-party websites and online services that you now own control over the YouTube. YouTube has no control over and assumes no responsibility for such websites or other services. Be aware within the leave and the services which suggest you read the terms and policies of each third party's website and online service that you visit. This one is important. Now, about this agreement, modification, this agreement. We may modify this agreement, for example, to reflect changes to our services legally regulated or several reasons. YouTube will provide responsible advance notice for any material modification of this agreement and the opportunity to review them, except the where legally permitted modifiers adversing newly applicable feature of the services you modify made for the legal reason may be effective immediately without notice. Okay, modifications of the agreement will only going apply going forward. If you do not agree to the money services, you should remove your content you may upload it and discontinue your use of the service. Continuation of this agreement. If your use of the service ends and the following terms of the agreement will continue to apply you, other legal terms about these agreements and the license guaranteed by you will continue described under duration of license. Severance. If it turns out to be the particular terms of the agreement is not enforceable for any reason, this will affect any other terms. Okay, no waiver. If you will fail to comply with this agreement, we do not take immediately action. This does not mean that we are giving up any right that we may, such as right to take action in the future. Okay. Interpretation. In these terms, including means including but not limited to. And other example we give are for illustrative purpose governing law. California law will govern all disputes arises out of the relating to these terms of the services regardless of conflicts of law rules. These disputes will resolved exclusively in the federal or state courts of Santa Clara County, California, USA, and you and YouTube consent to personal jurisdictions in those courts. If applicable, local law prevents these disputes from being resolved in California court, then you can file these disputes in your local court. Likewise, if applicable, local law prevent your local courts from applying California law to resolve these disputes, then these disputes will be governed by the laws of the country of residence. Okay, effective as of December 10, 2019, few previous version. Okay guys, reading these all terms of services is very important. और अगर आप अपना YouTube चैनल बनाना चाहते हैं तो आपको ये सर्विसेज के बारे में ज़रूर पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि मुझे खुद इसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे चीज़ें थी जो मुझे पहले नहीं पता थी लेकिन अब पता चल चुकी हैं. सो या दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और हमें पता चल गया है कि YouTube क्या क्या हमारा एक्सेस करता है और क्या क्या राइट वो हमें अपने पास रखता है, जो कि मोस्ट ऑफ द क्रिएटर या फिर मोस्ट ऑफ द पब्लिक को पता नहीं होती.